He thought I'd beg after the breakup, but I already packed my bags and left. The truth is, I had packed my bags in my heart long before I ever put my hands on that suitcase. I just needed the moment to show up, and it did. For months, I lived like a ghost in my own home, walking on eggshells, measuring every word, trying not to trigger his bad moods. I learned how to stay quiet when I was hurting, how to smile through the ache, how to make everything look fine when nothing was. He never noticed, or maybe he didn't care. Love stopped being love when I started to feel small just for having feelings. I used to wait by the door for him, just hoping we could have dinner together, hoping he'd remember the way I used to laugh when we first met. But every night, he came home a little later, a little colder, and I came undone a little more. I kept shrinking myself so he could feel big. I gave him all the soft parts of me, and he treated them like they were disposable. Every lie, every ignored text, every broken promise, I stored them quietly, adding weight to a suitcase only I knew I was packing. There were moments I thought I couldn't leave. I thought maybe if I changed something, my hair, my tone, the way I asked for love, maybe then he'd stay. I tried to be easier to love. I stopped bringing up how lonely I felt, how empty our conversations had become, how I couldn't even remember the last time he really saw me. He had this way of turning it all around, making me feel like I was the problem. "You're too emotional," he'd say. "You overthink everything." I started to believe him. I doubted myself so much I lost my voice. I gave up fighting for us because every time I tried, I ended up fighting alone. And still I stayed. Until one night, something in me snapped, but not loudly. It was quiet, like the final click of a lock before you close the door for good. He walked in, looked at me like I was a stranger, and said, "Maybe we need a break." He said it like we were just pressing pause on a movie, not breaking a bond, not ending something that once meant the world to me. And instead of crying or begging, I just nodded. I said, "Okay." That was all. He didn't expect that. He thought I'd plead, that I'd fall apart in front of him, like I had before. He thought I'd go into full panic, asking him to stay, promising to change. But I had nothing left to give. I had run out of tears and excuses. I walked into our bedroom, pulled out the bag I had been secretly filling for weeks, zipped it, and stood tall. No screaming. No drama. Just stillness. Peace. Power. As I walked out, I didn't even look back. He asked, "Is that it?" And I said, "That's it." For once, I wasn't afraid of being alone. I was afraid of losing myself again, and I had already lost enough of her. The silence between us in that final moment was louder than any fight we ever had. I left not because I didn't love him anymore. I left because I finally started loving myself. That night, I went to stay with my sister. I didn't tell anyone for a few days. I just needed time to breathe, to feel, to stop pretending everything was okay. I cried in that guest room, not because I missed him, but because I realized how badly I had been treated and how long I had tolerated it. The more distance I had from him, the more clearly I saw how blind I had been. I had confused chaos with passion, silence with peace, his inconsistency with mystery. I spent so long trying to earn his love, I didn't notice it was never truly there. I had been fighting for someone who wasn't even in the ring with me. And slowly, in that quiet space, I started to hear my own voice again. I made myself coffee in the morning and didn't have to wonder if I was in the way. I went for walks with no destination. I let the sun touch my skin like it hadn't in years. For the first time in a long time, I was free from him, from the version of me I became just to keep him, from the pain I was too scared to name. He didn't text right away, and honestly, I didn't expect him to. But a few days later, my phone buzzed. "Are you okay?" it read. I stared at it and felt nothing. No anger, no longing, just a quiet realization. He didn't care when he had me, and now he missed the attention, the comfort, the guarantee of being loved even when he didn't deserve it. I didn't reply, because it wasn't my job to teach him what he had lost. That version of me, the one who would have answered right away, who would have gone back just for closure, she was gone. I was done explaining my worth to someone who never valued it. I didn't leave to be missed. I left to find myself. And the further I got from him, The closer I got to her, the girl I used to be before love made her forget her own heart. The days turned into weeks, and I didn't just survive, I started to come alive. It felt strange at first. Healing isn't pretty in the beginning. It's messy. Some days, I felt strong and steady. Other days, I wanted to curl up and disappear. But I let it all happen. I let the grief pass through me like waves, trusting that I wouldn't drown this time. Because I wasn't grieving him, I was grieving who I had to become just to love him. I missed the girl who used to laugh without second-guessing herself, the one who didn't apologize for having emotions, the one who didn't carry the weight of someone else's indifference. So I made a promise to her. No more begging for love. No more shrinking to be accepted. No more choosing people who only choose me when it's convenient. That was the new rule. If it costs me my peace, it's too expensive. I started doing small things for myself. I bought flowers for my room, not because I had someone to impress, but because I deserved beauty in my space. I journaled every night, pouring out years of things I never said aloud. I found a therapist who didn't sugarcoat things, who looked me in the eye and said, "You didn't leave too early. You stayed too long." That sentence stayed with me. It made me realize how deeply I had tied my worth to being loyal, even when loyalty meant abandoning myself. Slowly, I started to forgive myself, not for leaving, but for staying in a place that was draining me. I stopped asking, "Why didn't he love me?" and started asking, "Why didn't I?" Because when love becomes survival, it stops being love. And I had survived long enough. Then one afternoon, I posted a picture. Just a selfie, no filters, no caption, just me. Peaceful. At ease. It wasn't about looking good. It was about feeling good. And of course, he saw it. Within minutes, his name popped up in the likes. Then came the message. "You look really happy. I miss you." I stared at it and felt an old version of me stir, the one who always wanted to respond, who needed to be acknowledged, who needed closure. But the woman I am now, she didn't need any of that. I didn't open the message. I didn't delete it either. I just let it sit there, like a quiet reminder that I don't owe anyone access to me just because they suddenly remember I existed. Especially not someone who forgot me while I was right in front of them. A few days later, I saw him, by accident, at a grocery store. He looked almost surprised to see me. He smiled, a little nervous, and said, "Hey, you look different." And he was right. I did look different. Not because of makeup or weight loss or clothes, but because I had finally left the heaviness behind. I had stopped carrying the invisible burden of not being enough. I looked him in the eyes and smiled gently. "Yeah,